Hey, good day. This is Fernando, Lehigh Acres, Fort Myers, Cape Coral. We do real estate in those areas as well as outside the areas, but those places are probably referred to an agent that knows those locations. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, just give us a call and we'll hook you up with somebody. We're going to be talking a little bit today about resales. I live in a house. I'm selling my property. Because I already lived in it, is considered a resale versus new construction. And that's one of few indicators that we should be looking at on a day in, day out kind of thing with all the craziness that's happening all around us. So as we are, and I don't know if you listen to other messages, I guess you want to say, or opinions, or whatever the case scenario is. We will look at each indicator as individuals or as a group or whatever the case scenario. But I thought it was interesting to note on new construction versus the resale property. So what I'm going to do is actually something live, it's kind of in the sense that we're just going to go through it. I'm not going to go through too much data. In a sense of numbers. So we're just going to go to the MLS and we're just going to look at what's happening in this past 7 days, Monday to Monday. So if anybody wants to look and do this on your own, go right ahead. Today's the 6th, March 6th. We'll go from Monday to Monday and we're going to look at those sales there. Now you can do this for city after city after city. But you know what? Lehigh is my backyard, so I'm going to just talk about Lehigh for now. Maybe I'll do something else later on for somebody in another location, or we can review numbers if you'd like to have a discussion, Now we're going to look at new constructions, pre-constructions, resales, and under contract. We're also going to look at just those that closed within those last 7 days and just single families. We're not doing all this other stuff because it's overkill, right? We're going to leave the bedrooms open and everything else open, list price open, all that good stuff. And we see that in the last 7 days, we have 47 properties, or technically 8 days, but it's whatever. So 47 properties has sold, period. They completed. They signed the paperwork. People got money. They're done. So now what's the next step, right? What should we look at? So because we are just looking at the solds, what is the indicator we're looking at? We're not really caring about, well, we do care about price, but we're just seeing that there's 47 of those properties sold. So the question is how many of them were either new construction? In other words, new construction, they completed the build. Pre-construction just means that it's a plan, and they're selling the plans and the land with that. And under construction means that they're in that middle phase. Okay, so if we just take out the resale, right? And we just leave new construction, pre-construction, we see that 21 of them, of those properties, are new construction. So basically half, or just about half, not exactly half, but half of them are new construction, which now makes, this is where we need to start thinking logically. If half of them were new construction, then we have a lot of homes that are, we got to think about this. I don't know how else to say this. Half of them sold as new construction. So that means that people are looking at the new constructions for the price that you're going to be looking at purchasing a home that's going to be in a resale. And if you're following what's happening with new construction, they are selling their properties and they want to get rid of their inventory on their books. So they're making it a lot more competitive. So if you're buying a house, new construction just became not only affordable, right? But they became in the price point that why am I buying a resale when there's a new construction that I can purchase for the same price? Plus, they're getting more incentives. Okay, so the incentives can be anywhere that I can If you're going to a custom build, you're building it to what you want and to your needs. If you're going to something that's more of a model home that's going to go and be sold, then those constructions already kind of laid out for you, and you know what you're buying, you know what you're getting, you know what it's going to look like. You probably have a model home that you can look at as well, and they're giving you great incentives. They're giving you either more money for closing costs, they're giving you price that is going to be cost effective compared to the resales, and so forth and so forth, right? And I'll show you an example in a little bit. But now this becomes something that you really have to start thinking about. If I'm buying, let's say, a $350,000 home, and I can buy either something that's already constructed that somebody lived in, some people would say other people's headaches, or somebody that loved it and cared for it and meticulously took care of it. Those are things that you got to take a look at. Versus, well, I just buy a brand new and I have all the warranties and everything else on it, plus all the incentives. Okay, so now that should be noted, because if now they're selling the same price as resales, then resales will have a downward pressure, and then that means that eventually, as time passes, then those prices are going to get pushed down. We're not counting all the other factors, interest rate, this, that. We're just talking about new construction. And new constructions, okay, they have a reason to sell, because they're not there to hold the property. They just want to sell the property, get out of it, go to the next one. Versus homeowners, they don't have that emergency kind of sale. They say, hey, I live in it, I pay for it, I can stay here, I don't want to reduce my prices. It's kind of versus the new construction that just says, hey, yeah, I just want to sell because we're going to sell because we got more stuff to do. They're not living in it. They're expenditures, if that makes any logical sense there, right? So if we're at almost 50% of resale versus new construction, that alone should start sending out red flags and saying, hey, new constructions are dropped the price, giving incentives, giving this, giving that, versus resale that has not realized that. And if you are a seller and you're trying to sell, well, you need to be competitive and you need to know what is the surrounding. You sell your property, you have to have great marketing. So you got to come to an agent like myself or other great agents out there. And you need to be able to understand the economics and what's your competition. And if they're not explaining that to you, then maybe you have to have that discussion with your realtor and get another one. I mean, that's the simplicity of it, right? So be careful with this, guys. If we go price analysis by square footage, you're going to find that they are very competitive with new construction versus resale. Okay, guys? So let me show you one thing just for an example. Where did I put it at? Okay, this is one of the ones, one of the new contractors out here, D.R. Horton. These are the lists that came out about almost a month ago. And these properties, again, they got the sales price, they got the how many bedrooms and so forth, what's the square footage for each type of things there. But this is what I want you to look at right here, in yellow. You see, you use their finance people. In this price, they're not going to increase the price. This is the price. In that price, they're giving you $11,000 for closing costs. Okay? The other thing is they have special interest rates that they're giving with the FHA. So you need 3.5% down, just like a regular first-time homeowners, right? And they're giving it 4.9%, so they're buying down interest rate. Now, guys, this goes back to what I was just saying before. If we're looking at there's always price and there's always terms, right? So if we're looking at simplicity, then the seller that needs to sell will have to either be competitive, either in price or in terms, or both. It really depends. So, and then if we're starting to see a increase in new construction and their pricings and terms are becoming better, then those are things that we have to take a look at as a buyer, because hey, one versus the other is kind of which one would you do? And, and those are questions that you have to ask yourself. Guys, I hope this helps somebody. And if you need a realtor like myself in this area, give me a call, 609-892-2644. Love you. God bless.